However, whenever somebody asks you, what do you do? What do you tell them?
I always lie. I always come up with something crazy. I'm always like, oh, I'm a retired gymnast. I just got out of prison for bank robbing. Like, it depends on the party.
Well, you can use whatever you want. If you want to go with the ex-felon, retired gymnast, whatever you want to do.
Perfect. Let's see. Okay, so I am Chelsea Rice. We'll go professional. I am an author under the pen name of C.R. Rice. I do the Realm series, which is a dark metaphysical series, and I am the owner-founder of the Popup Book Shoppe, where we help all indie authors.
Perfect. All right. So, like I said, I'll clip that, have that be the lead-in, cue the music, me introducing you, and then it'll just dump right into the interview. So let's start with your books.
Okay.
Talk a little bit about your books and your writing style, who the books are for, that kind of thing.
Okay, so I write, the overall arcing series is called the Realm series.
Mm-hmm.
It is a collection of 7 different realms, each falling under a different genre. I just finished the Heart Realm, which is a dark metaphysical series about the consequences of interaction. So whether or not the small acquaintances you make versus the people that you think are your friends or the people that you meet during your journey and things, and how it impacts not only your life, but the worlds that they are fighting for. It's very dark series. So if you like stuff a little spooky, a little psychological, thriller-ish, it does have magical realism because we get to play with some magic that you don't get in the modern world. So
yeah.
It's the Heart Realm is all about a girl named Avery who was sent away from her world until the night of her 18th birthday, when she's called back to save everyone across the realms, because there is something called the Shadow that is trying to, after the realms broke apart, trying to snap them together like a rubber band, which would mean catastrophic results for all of the worlds across. So she goes and tries to help things out. And if you want to know how it goes, it's named after the 5 stages of grief. So just imagine how it could fall apart. But there are 5 novels. There are 5 novellas. So there is 10 total. I have, over the summer, you will get introduced to 2 new realms. So it's going to be a sci-fi. And I'm thinking I might go a little weird and do like a dark noir.
Yeah.
To really switch it up. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds very cool. Like, anytime an author kind of takes an idea or, something that's not like physically tangible and kind of centers a theme around that, I really love that.
Yeah, I honestly wanted to name them books like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my publisher said no, because I'm terrible at naming things. And so we were watching, I don't know I can't even remember what the show was, but she was talking about the 5 stages of grief. And I was like, well, I have 5 books. That sounds good. And then it just so happened that the overarching theme of everything kind of lined up. So it's kind of kismet.
Oh, nice. Yeah. It's nice when it comes together like that.
Yeah, totally planned it though. If anybody asks, it was the plan from the very beginning.
Yeah. That's the magic of writing a novel, right? I mean, he's fallen out of public favor recently, but his quote, Neil Gaiman's quote about it, still stands, that when you write a story, the first time you write it, you're telling yourself the story, and then the second time you go over it, you're making it look like you knew what you were doing the whole time.
The whole time. And if anybody asks, you always got to act like you do know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because I know, we do a lot of conventions and stuff. So we'll go and people will ask about the writing process. And I always say that I'm a chaos writer because I plan literally nothing. I don't write the book in order. I wait until a week before my deadline, and then I put it all together like a puzzle, and I never read it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of like you just go through, and I'm like, well, you know what? I knew exactly what I was doing, start to finish. It was super easy. Meanwhile, I had absolutely no idea, and I was binging coffee and energy drinks 3 days before my deadline. So
I say that procrastination is both my greatest motivator and also my greatest hindrance, because I will wait until, if you say, hey, I don't need this until Friday, you're going to get it at the last second on Friday.
Yes. And it's so weird because it's the only thing that in my life that I do it with, because everything else I set up a schedule. I'm a very scheduled person. So everything, pretty much every minute of my day, I always have something, unless it's my writing stuff. And then I'll be like, okay, I scheduled this, but you know what? I really think I should go to the store and like I think it's a illness that every author ends up getting because you act like you're going to write, but then you get an alert on your phone or you're like, what's a good name for this? And then you end up down a YouTube rabbit hole for 5 hours. And I feel like it all just comes together for research.
Yeah.
Because at some point you're going to use it.
Yeah. You got to tell yourself, don't feel too bad, because I definitely did the same thing. I was looking up like biblical names to kind of follow a theme for the book that I just released. And that led to like, oh, well, let me read the story of this person. And then before I know it, I'm like looking at like house decor on Amazon. I'm like, wait a minute, what happened?
I've done that before. I'll go through and I don't typically do a lot of research, or at least in the heart realm, I didn't need to, because it was something I was creating all of my own and I wasn't using any real references. But when I started working on another realm, I looked into a little bit of Norse mythology. And then for some reason that spiraled an idea for a different book. So for 2 weeks, without realizing it, I was working on a completely different series. And then I go to talk to my cover artist and she's like, so what is the vibe going so far in the book? And I start talking and she was like, I thought you said this was like sci-fi. What are you doing in mythology? And I was like, oh my God, I completely forgot what I was working on. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. It happens to the best of us, and even me.
Yes. All the time.
All right. Well, let's shift into the actual pop-up bookshop then.
Okay.
First of all, I want to say that this is a great idea that you had and that you're executing now, and you seem to be doing a fantastic job of it from the other writers I talked to that have seen you in action. I think a lot of writers are like, oh yeah, we should do a thing where we all band together and help each other out like that. But at the end of the day, everybody's, procrastinating, waiting till the last second on their deadlines, doing all that kind of stuff. And very few people actually put it together. How did you, I understand where the idea comes from, because like I said, a lot of authors were like, oh yeah, I wanted to do something like that. But when did you have the idea and when did it actually start becoming real?
So almost 2.5 years ago now, me and a fellow author were as an author, it's very hard to make money if you're not part of the top 5.
Yeah.
And,
because you got to spend a lot of money to get into the shows, and then you're just hoping to break even at the very least.
You're hoping to even cover the cost of your books.
Yeah.
And so we went with our publisher at the time, and I think they brought 20 of our books. And I ended up leaving making $20 because they went and told us, you were getting so much from your book, but we actually only ended up getting $1 per sale we did. And I was like, this is insane. This is, we are busting our butts trying to do everything that we possibly can, and nothing is coming from it. And it kind of just defeats you a bit.
Oh, yeah.
So I had years of event planning in my background. So, and I love conventions. I go to conventions all the time. And I was like, well, if we go and we kind of intermingle this whole thing and we make this work, I think it would be a place where we could take indie authors like us, instead of people from the top 5 that get $50,000 in marketing a quarter, and we all share in the cost. We could get something spectacular, walk out making a little bit of money, and then feel like we're actual authors, feel special. Yeah. So I sat down, we came up with the idea, we worked it all out, and we tried our first solo event was GalaxyCon Richmond in 2023, I believe. And it was intense. The initial, everybody thinks it's super easy, right? Like you were saying, like you're just going to get a bunch of authors together. It's going to be spectacular. Everything's going to be great.
It's like trying to herd cats.
Oh my God. So in our first event, we had over 60 authors that said they wanted to do it. And so we had to cut it down, and we were like, so sorry, we're hoping if this is successful, we can do it again. And then when it came about 2 weeks before, we had 15 authors drop out because they said the nerves got to them. They couldn't show up. They couldn't do it. So we ended up going with about 8 authors total. And then I met a couple authors there, and I started thinking that authors are not very social people. I'm not a very social person. I like staying home. Like home is my happy place. Yeah. And so we started devising the idea of just having authors send their books and getting authors to just come and have their books out there, because most of our authors that come now go, I sent my books to 2 events. I've done amazing. I want to come meet people. And it's kind of like getting your foot in the door.
Yeah.
So I did have a partner. Unfortunately, she can't be a part of it anymore for her own personal reasons. So for the last year and a half, it's been just me and my OG authors, I call them, because they follow me everywhere and they're amazing.
Yeah.
But it's hard getting authors to participate, come in person, meet their fans, and do all of those things. And we give 100% of profits back to the authors.
Yes.
So it's definitely
which is awesome, because I just got a paycheck from Lightning Source, which is like through Ingram Sparks imprint there.
Yeah.
And I sold a couple of books, and it was like, you made $12 on the book, but it cost us $8 to print them, $3 to ship them. So here's your $1.02 per copy that we sold. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what it came down to. I was so excited. I had like 6 weeks. We all have our favorite book series, even as authors, you go through. And one of my favorite ones was The Maze Runner.
Yeah.
And for 6 weeks, I beat out Maze Runner on the charts. And I was like, this is amazing. This is spectacular. I was so excited. My publisher sent me my check, and it was $6. And I was like, okay, you know what? Yeah, because I was kind of on the fence on if authors would do the pop-up bookshop. And I think that was the moment where I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing this. Yeah. Like, I don't care if I have to do it by myself, if I have to force authors to do it, whatever it is. And we've had amazing success with getting authors out there. And I think one of the draws is we have this really cool dynamic that ends up coming into the shop, because you don't just sell your book. Yeah. So that takes the pressure off of a lot of newer authors who get nervous talking about their work. Yeah. Which I don't think anybody realizes how hard it is to actually do it. I have done probably 45 conventions where I sell my books at this point, and I still blank on what my books are about. Because you get so caught up in everything else that you either say too much, you don't say enough, you mention some part of a book that has literally nothing to do with anything important. And so we help authors come in, perfect their pitch, their elevator pitch, their longer pitch, and then they get to know other authors and they help them. And we build a really great community. And so I think I have like 10 different like group chats on my phone for like the different groups of authors when we've gone to the conventions, when they have, want help with editing and things like that. So we created not just somewhere for you to go and sell your book, but somewhere for you to come back and get positive reinforcement when you feel like you want to give up.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's great too for any authors out there listening and going, well, how good is the system in place here? When we met the first time at the GalaxyCon in Columbus, you came up to me and Jody Sperling's table. And I think it was the end of the second of 3 days. And you're like, well, we're pretty much sold out of books.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there like with 25 copies each sitting on the table, like, damn it.
Yeah. Well, and it's one of those things where we have had those difficult, for lack of a better word, authors where it comes in, because this is a very clean running machine. I have done it so many times now that I go in, most of our people know what to expect. One of the things that we do is we do a set number of books that every author brings in. Yeah. And we make it so that everybody can, get at least, you make your money back for your table. Yeah. You make enough to cover most of your trouble. Now, I will say we do have some authors that come from the West Coast to the East Coast. I can't get your money back at that point. You would have to sell like 300 books. But they come because they love it. Yeah. And they have a blast with it. And even the followers that we have gotten per convention help me in pushing the authors get their next books out. Because I'm like, hey guys, it's been like a year. Where's your second book? And they're like, oh, it's not quite done. And then I go and I know the people that enjoy their series. And I'm like, hey guys, just so you know, they're going to be there and their book's not done yet. And then they'll come and talk to them and be like, hey, what the hell? Like, where's your book? And it's kind of like a fun little razzing thing that we do. But we're also, we have a very reduced rate that we offer our authors. And we also have something called the boutique. that we created this year that sells all kinds. You can kind of see like merchandise and stuff like that behind us. And the profits of that go towards the fees, like the table fees and the marketing fees that we have to lower the cost for authors even further. So we're trying to get it down as low as humanly possible, but still make it, you have to have some type of fee. Otherwise people are going to take advantage of things or not show up. So we're trying to get it down to like a super easy, like $50 fee.
Yeah. And it does thin out people who really aren't enthused about the idea. They just were like, oh yeah, sell my books, whatever.
Right, exactly. And a lot of it comes down to author help too. You know, all of our authors, we, when you become a part of the bookshop, we require that like, you don't just share your stuff when we do our announcements or when GalaxyCon does your announcements. We ask that you go and share everybody's.
Yeah.
Because it raises the awareness. It gets the other newer authors excited about it. And you need that energy because, you know, conventions, that energy goes out really, really quick.
Yeah.
Standing on your foot all day is rough.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. Yeah, no, it reminds me, here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where I am, there's a rapper named Gwopped Peedy, and he's got a line in one of his songs saying, basically says like, artists shouldn't attack each other. We don't need to compete. When one of us eats, we all eat. And that's exactly that same sentiment, and I love that. I am curious to know, though, going back a little bit, how long did it take you to kind of develop? Because like you said, it's a well-oiled machine at this point. But what were those first couple of shows like? Did you, because for the listener's sake, I'll paint a little picture here. You usually, from what I understand, get a table pretty close to the front, and it's not just a table in a row, but at least the one that I saw, you had a two-cornered booth. So you had all that space going around like the end of an aisle, and you know, people working the floor almost kind of like you'd see it like a, I don't know, it's kind of a stupid comparison, but almost kind of like at a phone shop. Just you know, people walking the floor. If somebody walks up, you go, hey, you see something you like? Can I help you find a thing based on your interests? And it really is an impressive thing to see. But yeah, how long did it take to get there?
I would say 3 shows.
Oh, okay. Did you have any like just, man, the first one or the second one just was terrible? Our thing went like everything fell apart.
I mean, every time after a convention, so I bring my husband along to help because there's a lot of heavy stuff.
Yeah,
we're moving
nice
books,
guy.
Okay, I'm a girl, strong female person, whatever. But there is nothing I can do that my husband can carry double what I can. So,
yeah, he's a big, strong lad.
Yeah, he always comes with me, and so he is a VP in a company, so he knows business. Okay. And so when we did after the first show, he asked me, and I wasn't expecting an interrogation, but we're driving home, and he goes and he asked me like, what are the top 5 things that I thought I did well? What are the 5 things I didn't? And then did I want his critique? And I was like, oh no, this is so bad. So I went through and I listed it, and we started that process where by the time I got to the second event, I went and I started paying attention to every single detail to see everything. And then on the drive home, he would ask me the same thing, and I would tell him, these are the 3 things I think I need to change. How do I maximize this? How do I make this easier? Load in and load out. You want to get in and out. We live in Florida. A lot of these places are not close, and we drive. Yeah. Because we have to bring so much stuff. So we're on the road Sunday after an event. So we go through and we broke it all down. By the time we ended, when we went to Austin, by the time that one ended, I was like, I'm not doing, like, there is no way. And I started creating these. I don't know if you can see, I have these lines of like cards over here, and it's breaking down every single step. And then everything in those steps gets broken down even further. So by the time we made it to Columbus that same year, it was on point. Everything was great. There's always going to be something that pops up. Conventions, it doesn't matter how well you plan. There's going to be something. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I remember at GalaxyCon, this last one, you were like, "Where is so and so's books? We told them to send them here, and they're not here."
There's always one. There is always one. So, and it's one of those things where I can't have everybody send it to my house. We're talking about 20 authors. I can't haul 20 people's stuff with me, but I have some really great authors that work with me. I have Leslie Sommer. She does the Amulet series. And
oh, really?
Yeah, she does.
My kids are all just recently getting into that.
Yeah, so it's very much like a Scottish version of Percy Jackson. It's really great.
Yeah.
She is a huge help. She has become my author liaison. So when she saw I was getting kind of bogged down, all of them like step up and they're like, what can we do? What can we help out with? So she actually volunteers as a part of the bookshop, even when she's not selling her books. And then I have Scott Clark, who does her Violet Empire. I don't know if you've ever seen like Douglas Adams' Dirk Gently.
Yeah.
Yeah. He writes a series like that. It's just a little bit quirkier and it's absolutely amazing. And he comes in and he's really good with tech. So if I have any issues, I'm just like, Scott, this isn't working. I need you to do this. Leslie, I need you to work this out. I have these panels to run. So I've created this really great team of not only authors, but I also take advantage of their daily life skills.
Yeah. And why not, right? We're all stronger together. We fill in each other's knowledge and information gaps and expertise gaps. So yeah, that's great. And I can't wait to go home and tell my kids like, hey, I might rub shoulders with the person who wrote Amulet. Like, no way.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's super fun too because we'll go through.
I said rub shoulders. That's not the expression. It's elbows, right?
Is it elbows? Yeah, I mean, you don't want to get close, right? Like we're all still kind of weird with the COVID thing. So elbows, I like it. Yeah, we work with a lot of fun authors. And I think one of the cool things was the first time you see a new author like sell something and somebody asks to sign their book and they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to get very excited or all of the blood is going to drain from their face and they're going to pass out. I've never met somebody who didn't do either or. Sometimes both. They get excited and then when the person walks away, they're like, okay, I need to sit down. And I'm like, okay, guys, pull yourself together. You got this. This is what this whole thing was for. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. I feel like I'm doing an okay job just as a author / marketer of, as I say jokingly, taking over Grand Rapids, Michigan. I've gotten to the point now where people like recognize me, not all the time, but occasionally. They're like, hey, aren't you that guy that always sells books everywhere? I'm like, that's me.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, but like as far as expanding, like I think every author kind of wants to be like, I'm the author from this town. But once you start thinking of expanding, it becomes very intimidating to go like, yeah, let me just walk into this town like I own the place and try to sell books there.
You fake it till you make it. That was one of the basics. And that's what I tell all of the authors. We go through and they're like, I don't know what to, I'm like, guys, you got to engage. You got to talk to people. You got to sell everybody's books. Just ask them what they like to read. We do, we do a comparison table to make it easy for people. We have our authors fill out all kinds of forms to help us sell their book as well. So we do everything from TV shows and movies to other books to comics, because we are going to comic conventions. It's really easy to rope people in that way. Yeah. And everybody panics. And I'm like, guys, you fake it until you make it. Act like you know what you're talking about, and eventually you will. We send authors, all of the write-up of a quick, like 3-sentence write-up of every single book that's going to be on the table. I'm like, you guys don't have to memorize it, but by the end of the weekend, you're going to be saying it in your sleep. So you might as well start now.
Yeah, you're going to memorize everybody's elevator pitch.
Yes, they do. Yeah, we do a short little breakdown of it. And then I always everybody always says I help out too much. I'll take like little cards, Post-its.
That's not the worst problem to have.
Yeah, like I put the blurb behind the books. So as authors are going through telling everybody's stuff and selling everybody's books, they act like they know what they're doing anyways. So
you got a little cheater there,
incentivize them with sweets and there's a lot of bribery. There is a lot of bribery at the booth, and then we start a lot of competitions, which people really get into. Ooh. So, yes.
I actually wasn't thinking about how important having visuals around your books was until you came over to me and Jody's booth, and you're like, what would help is if you had. And now I'm actually doing this interview from my favorite coffee shop in Grand Rapids, who sells my books, and
Oh,
There
that's
you go.
amazing.
And so I've got cards that have just a couple sentences about each of the books with one
Yes.
review down at the bottom from people.
I'm
And
telling
so-
you, it's the smallest things make the biggest difference.
Yeah.
And I always feel bad. And that's why Leslie always walks around with me. You met her at the convention too. Nobody leaves me unsupervised because I will wander away and then I will go and help everybody fix all of their stuff.
Yeah.
I'll walk through some of the.
Yeah, you walked over to me and Jody. You walked by Josh, and you're like, "Ooh, you know what would help there?"
I know. I was like, "Hey guys, just so you're aware, you have too much clutter here, so you need to fix it." Some people are very open to it. Some people are not.
Yeah.
But I try to help everybody out because it's not a competition. You know, like everybody,
Right.
Being an author is just trying to live a dream that you have, and I don't understand why there are a lot of other authors that will shoot people down constantly to try to get ahead, and I shut that down really quick.
Oh, good.
I always seem super nice, but I'm not. Yes.
Yeah. No, I love it when somebody's like, "Oh, do you want to hear something that might help you?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Right? That's what I think. I'm always like, "Yes, tell me."
It
Like,
might
what
sting
makes
to hear it. It might sting to hear that you're doing something wrong, but I'd rather get that sting that I'm doing something wrong than to keep doing something wrong.
And then wondering why it's not working. And that way,
Yeah.
you know, and that's what we do. So
And so many indies give up. They'll write 2, 3, 4, 5 books and then go, it's just not happening for me. And then they just fall off the face of the earth.
I have a couple authors that are like that. And I actually, a lot of people think I stopped because I rapid release, you know, I did the whole series in 3 years and I haven't done anything. They just keep, but I was waiting out the end of my contract. So I completed my contract and they wouldn't let me out. So I had to wait. But
I have a friend who's been on this podcast before, phenomenal writer. I won't put his name out there just because of the friction that's going on with him and his publisher, but he has a series and he's waiting until 2026, which is like 2 or 3 years between the third and the last book, because he's waiting out his contract because his publisher, I don't know if he just didn't see it, if they snuck it in, or if he was too excited to sign the contract in the first place, but they had a stipulation that they own his character rights. So they could make other books with his characters, they could make movies or TV shows with his characters, and they wouldn't even have to consult him, let alone pay him.
That is insane. Yeah, we have, you know, with the bookshop, we do so many different things just because I like to help everyone. And so one of them is I have a couple lawyer friends and I actually have them do some pro bono stuff for me in exchange for different, like I get them books, I get them things signed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They go through and they review contracts and they stop authors from selling stupid stuff or signing stupid stuff, because I have an author who the publisher owns the copyright for the extension of his life. Yeah. It's like 50 years or something like that. I was like, who told you to sign this? He's like, I had a friend that's a lawyer and he said that everything was on the up and up. And I'm like, yeah, it's on the up and up, but it doesn't do anything for you. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But there's always loopholes, guys. So we're working on getting him out of that one. I have a couple author friends, which if I can send any message whatsoever, please copyright your materials, guys. Copyright your books. And it doesn't count if you mail a book to you. You have to do a copyright. I didn't know for an entire year one of the authors that I was selling their books like crazy never copywrote their book. And I found out and I like couldn't sleep that night. And I was like, I woke up early the next day, we were going to the convention and he walked in and he was like, don't worry, Chels, everything is copywritten. Everything is good now. We're good to go. And I was like, you have no idea. I stayed up all night last night because I'm like, how many people have I sold this to that could possibly steal this man's stuff? Because it's so hard and people don't understand how you can't just put that your book is copywritten. I had an author do that. Said their book, just put copywritten in it. And I was like, what is that? They're like, oh, to show that it's copywritten. I was like, that's not how that works. So a lot of informative stuff, and we help authors find cover artists and editors and typesetters and everything like that. And we don't really take a cut of that. We're just like, guys, stay away from here. I've messed up enough. I know. Go in this direction. So we do a lot. I need to take some off my plate, though. I'm doing too much.
Yeah. Well, that's the balance. Once you start getting into doing lots of things, just figuring out how to compartmentalize it, how to schedule it, and how to make the most of all your time.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't worry too. When there's dead air time like this, I'll edit it. I have music that I kind of put between the segments. Okay. Actually, yeah. Here. The next thing I wanted to do was kind of go over the process of how to join this band of indie authors that is the Pop-Up Book Shop, because I do absolutely want to sign up and come out and help you sell, because I think I might be one of the rare authors who actually really likes public speaking and talking to people. And
I mean, that would be great, because we do panels and stuff too, and getting these authors to talk on things, it's just like, oh my gosh, they don't stop talking, or they whisper into a mic. Have you ever heard somebody whisper into a mic?
Yeah.
We had an author that was
they're all into ASMR.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you know, I was going through and what I do. And I'm like, honey, you have a microphone.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And so, but yes. Yeah, that would be wonderful, because we always need the help.
Yeah. And you know, I don't mean to brag, but I currently hold the sales record at a minor league baseball team's raffle ticket sales.
Well, okay. Look at you. We can throw that in there.
My friend Ivan, who's a fellow barista here at Hazhart, we all sold 50-50 raffles for the West Michigan Whitecaps, and we got to keep half of the money. They got to keep half the money. I think we sold close to $5,000 worth of raffle tickets, and I sold about half of them personally.
That is insane.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. We'll have to throw that. We always do these author spotlights before events. So when you come with us on one, that'll be your author spotlight.
Okay, yeah. Anybody else who's too shy to go up there, I'll be like, move. I got this.
Exactly. Yes. Because, you know, we have one of the husbands of an author that we have is actually the GalaxyCon fan owner or something like that. So he comes to the booth constantly now and asks for interviews. And I'm just like, dude, I am in the middle of selling stuff. What am I doing? And he's like, whoa, we're live. And I'm like, on what? What are we doing? Yeah. So I'm just like, come on. Somebody give me some flashcards.
Right. Yeah, I know too many authors like that too. I was telling some of the folks in my Sunday writing group about Pop-Up Book Shoppe. They're like, oh, that's fantastic. They all start writing it down. I'm like, yeah. And they get you on panels and they all kind of just go. Like,
they're fun.
Dude. Yeah.
You know, they're different. We do a lot of it. All of our panels are interactive. You're not just sitting there, like having a conversation. Like, we bring in the audience and we do all of those things. And when they're not all just about writing, I get in trouble all the time, because we do a huge catalog of like who would win, and then the audience picks the people and you got to fight about it. I know a lot about comics. I know a lot about anime. Like, you can't come at me. Mm-hmm. So we go, and I'm supposed to be like a team captain, and I'll be over here. And they were talking about the best God-esque character without godlike powers. And so somebody chose the Doctor from One Piece, and I went with Bon. And I was like, and they're like, that's cheating. No. Like, loopholes, dude. I live in loopholes.
Yeah.
But yes.
Like, people always say, oh, dude, who is the best X-Men? Like, who's the one X-Men that nobody can beat? And people will argue like Xavier or Magneto. And I just go, Roma. They're like, who?
Ooh,
I'm like,
yeah.
Roma's the only X-Men character that has all 10s on the back of their card.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, she's super, like, nobody that I talk to ever knows who I'm talking about. She's pretty obscure. But I remember I used to collect the cards when I was a kid. And I got a Roma card, and I was like, who's Roma? And then it's like, you know, one of the godlike characters who's basically immortal.
You gotta like immortality a little bit. That's Bond. You know, he just goes, he can't die because he has a tree of life. He's I don't know if you watch anime. He did 7 Deadly Sins. Absolutely spectacular. But so he can't die. And they're like, that's cheating. And I'm like, no, it's not. Because
they're a character you asked.
Like, he doesn't have godlike powers. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. I'm sorry you lost.
Yeah.
But it caused a huge thing, and we had to have like somebody called security because they thought people were actually fighting in our room, but it was just a debate. And so they had security show up, and they were like, "Is everything okay in here?" It's like, oh God, here we go again.
Like, you don't have to take one of us to jail, do you?
Right. And we do it all the time. And the contact I have at GalaxyCon, he'll just text me and be like, was that you guys? And I was like, yes, it was us, but everything was fine. Everything is good. But yeah,
better that than everybody yawning and falling asleep in there anyway, right?
Exactly. That's why we don't do them that way. We started, interactive panels, and originally it was just 2, and then it blew up. So they're like, hey, do you got another one? And I think we're up to 6 now. So I'm just like, all right, let's keep the fights going.
Yeah, dude, I would love to do panels. I would talk about writing. I would talk about indie publishing because I publish my own stuff. I would talk about doing podcasts, talk about how to do press releases to get out on the news and stuff.
Yeah. We do, one of the bigger ones is we go in and ask what readers are tired of reading. Like, give us different ideas. Because I talk with so many different authors. And so I go through and I'll read, and even submissions, I'll read 4 or 5 books that I swear are the exact same book. Yeah. And I'm like, wait a second, because he's going to go and do this, who's going to do this, who's going to do this. And I read it and I'm like, damn it, I'm good. But it goes, and the readers are honest and they tell us, they're like, we want more of this. We are so sick and tired of this. We hate that we love this. And like, so it's super fun that way. And
yeah. Well, there is a lot of writing to market, which
oh yes,
I understand. Like, yeah, you want to write something that you're pretty sure there's going to be an audience for. Mm-hmm. But I've always kind of leaned more into I think it was Toni Morrison said, write the stories that you want to read, rather than go look at what's popular and try to copy that. Because like you said, there are a lot of books out there that do feel very similar. There's a lot of book covers that look very similar,
Yes.
And that's why I commissioned an artist who had never made a book cover before. The only 2 book covers he's ever made were my 2 book covers. And we looked at book covers and said, this is kind of what I like. But at the end of the day, they don't look like those covers,
Right. Yeah. And it's really hard because trends are constantly changing.
Yeah. You never know what's going to be popular by the time you actually get your book out.
I had 8 books out, and my publisher changed my covers on 9 and 10. And I was like, no, why? I love my covers. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I was like, there was 2 more. There were 2 more. You couldn't just wait. So like the last novella and the last novel have completely different covers if you get the whole set. Yeah. And I was just like, it's cringe to me sometimes. But they're all changed and they're all different now. And they stand out completely different than everything else, which I think is great. And I do the same thing. I have my guilty pleasure writing that I do that is stupid stuff that everybody writes. And then I have the off the wall stuff that I write that makes people wonder if I'm okay.
Right.
But I think that's part of the writing process and stuff too. But trend writing is, I think the only thing I can think of is that you do it to keep your name out there between releases because you have the formula, you know exactly what you're doing. Yeah. You have the theme of the whole thing. So that's the only thing I can think of. Yeah.
Yeah. And there is a balance to it too. Like you don't want to have something that people look at and just go, the hell is that? You know what I mean? Like you kind of want to get a sense of the story or at least a sense of the genre from the cover.
It's a weird play. And then the same thing with blurbs. Book blurbs have come so far in 5 years. I remember when it had to be about your book, not a monologue.
Yeah.
It's not hate to anybody that monologues on their book blurb. I'm just saying it's come so far.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Monologue. That really tickled me. I don't know why. Okay, so let's finish by talking about the process of joining the Pop-Up Book Shop. What does one do if they hear this and they go, I think that sounds interesting. Where do I sign up?
So the best place to find us is on Instagram. You just look up Pop-Up Book Shop. Okay. And we go into our link tree and our applications are right there. You can also check out our website. But for some reason, I woke up this morning and it was all in German. So check out the Instagram. I don't know what happened there. Okay. It was a weird thing to wake up to. I got an alert from somebody. But our link tree is constantly updated. We do the next 3 events each time. And then we have a special notes section. All you have to do is go in you submit your at least 4 chapters of your book, 4 complete chapters of your book,
Okay.
just so we can get a sense of what it's about. We do have questions like what your triggers are, that type of thing.
And get a sense of quality too. Like any indie author out there, I highly recommend. I think that I'm a good self-editor, but get a real, not a real editor, but somebody who's not you to look at your book, because oh my God, does my editor, TJ Tranchel, a fantastic writer in his own right, found so many things where he's like, nope, change this is wrong. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I am a huge advocate for Pro Writing Aid. I love it. I like it better than Grammarly. I think it's amazing, but it's not an editor.
Yeah.
So like I have those, probably 20, 30 applications per event, which is really great. But we go through and I can look at a book at this point and be like, oh, you didn't edit, sweetheart.
Yeah.
You did not edit. And I'm always very kind. I always give feedback on things. But
you had 3 typos and 2 redundant thes on the first page. I don't think this is going to work out.
They send me a Word document. You understand what I could do with that Word document? But I've gotten that. It has to be a published book.
Yeah.
It can't be something coming out unless you're going to have it printed and it's copywritten first. It can't be something that's coming out in a year or 2 years or is not complete. It has to be completed.
Okay. So when I was at the GalaxyCon selling my ARCs, that's a no-go, right?
Well, we put ARCs in our newsletter. So if anybody listening to this has an ARC, whether it's a book that's already out or a new book, feel free to send us those links. We don't charge anything. We throw them into our newsletter. We have about 2,500 subscribers, give or take. So that's just another way that we send out free advertisement and things like that.
Yeah.
But other than that, we ask for your triggers, what your genre is. I double check that you have actual cover art because I need to see your guys' covers because you're going on a website.
Yeah.
You gotta have covers. I make sure your typesetting is good, your formatting is okay. And then I always send a double check, like you can actually print this book, right? Because some people will send me like a Kindle Unlimited link, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But when I click on their Amazon page, it just has ebook versions. So if you have something like that, I just, in the comment section at the bottom of your application, just put, you can print it, whether it's print on demand or whatever it is. But other than that, it's super easy. We don't discriminate on genres. The only themes we do not allow are explicit rape, any type of child abuse, and we don't do bestiality. You would be surprised the amount of books that have hidden bestiality in them that get sent, and you think I'm not going to catch it. I don't like surprises. Okay, I don't like it. I have gotten so many, an alarmingly disturbing amount. Yeah. But
I don't have any of those things in my books.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's always hidden in a like steamy shifter book, and I'm like, no. Like, it drives me insane. But yeah, we don't discriminate. We go across the country. You can send your books only if you just want to give it a shot and see how you do, or you can come in person. In-person selection is tight. So make sure you get your applications in. We have Richmond coming up. It's like our coming home party. It's 4 days this year. 4 days.
Really?
Yes. It's insane. It's in March. It's the 27th to the 30th. It is probably one of my favorite ones.
Are applications open for that one still?
Applications are still open. They don't close until March.
I'm going to apply today.
Yes, definitely do. And then our email is on the application. So I know some people, somehow their applications get lost. If anybody doesn't hear back within a week, feel free to email me and I will get to it. But I'm the only person that does all this. So you guys got to like hang in there with me.
Bear with you. Be patient. Yeah. This isn't the only thing you do 24/7. Yeah.
Right.
Might feel like it sometimes, but
it does, but that's okay because it's helping. And, you know, it's super easy to be a part of the Pop-Up Book Shop. We are all about selling each other. It's by authors for authors.
Yeah.
100% of profits go directly back to you. We just have the one-time table fee to help us get the table. If you come
because
in person,
that placing that you guys get is
It's a 20 by 20 booth. It's absolutely amazing. I am very.
By the time people got back to me in Artist Alley, they already had a bag full of books, and they're like, "Sorry, I spent all my money today." But you hit them like right when they walk in the door.
I try. I get them, and then I also, I have authors walk around. This is one of the competitions. It's not these cards, but we have cards like this, and they'll go, and on the back it'll have like a 5% off, and then I put the team sticker at the bottom, and whoever brings back the most people at the end of the day, like I buy them stuff. Nice. Or they get like a free event, or they get half off their next event and stuff like that. And it gets vicious. Those authors, man, they're ruthless.
I was going to say, if I win, all you got to give me is like 2 bean and cheese burritos from Taco Bell, and we'll call it even.
I mean, that's so much easier than some of the other requests I've gotten. So that is done. But yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Can you fly me and my whole family out then?
Right. That I've definitely gotten some weird stuff. They're like, how about you cover my whole next trip? And I'm like, how about no?
Yeah.
Right. Like, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
A question that I have for you about this, and other authors might want to know as well, is there a difference in price to participate if you're there and if you're not there?
Yes, there is. There is a discount to come in person because you are working your butt off all weekend.
Yeah.
So as with the boutique takes off and we start making more from there, that's going to be the first price that drops.
Okay.
In comparison, and we've already dropped it from the time that we started this to now. So
nice. When everything else in this world is getting more expensive, you guys are helping people.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I am trying so hard. It's the same thing with the boutique. We've done surprisingly well. Crashed the website. I wasn't expecting it, so I just have it as part of the Pop-Up Bookshop website. So now we're in the process of building its own website because we had a bunch of people that went, and I guess it completely crashed it for like 24 hours. But we don't, even our bookish merchandise is not expensive. It's a little bit above what we pay for it.
Yeah.
Or what we pay for it. I make all of this. So.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So we make everything. I say we a lot. It's me. Well,
the royal we.
Yes. I have my dog back here. He helps me.
Hey, puppy.
By laying in the corner.
Emotional support.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And we also do, one of the great things that we do for our authors that we're starting in July is we're doing curated book boxes. Ooh. So you'll go and, like, I've been testing it online. So this is actually my script book. But so you'll have the author book. You'll have some merchandise that goes along with it, whether it's a T-shirt or a bag you get, and then whatever stuff the author puts in. And then people bid on them.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a fun idea.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yes. You're
so creative.
I try very hard.
Yeah, and it shows. Like I can't emphasize enough how impressive the setup was when I saw it. And I only saw it when most of the books were gone, but I was just like, man, these guys are doing it right. All the rest of us jokers over there in Artist Alley are slugging back half the books we brought or more. It's
tricky, but it takes a lot of work. And it's not just me. The authors help so much.
Yeah.
After that first day, when the nerves go away, especially if you're a new author, once the nerves go away, it's almost like a completely different experience. Everybody always says Saturdays are their favorite. And I'm like, you're insane. The second day is always the hardest day. It never ends. But everybody has a blast. And I try to keep people motivated through competition and stuff like that. And
yeah,
people hold grudges though. So there's a lot of, we have a couple of authors that it's like back and forth. This one will outdo this one. And then this one outdoes this one. And they're constantly one-upping each other. So yes.
That sounds like fun to me. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so anybody that wants to apply, head over to our Instagram, Pop-Up Book Shoppe, and apply quick. March is coming up fast.
Yeah.
One thing some people I think has been misunderstood. We cover your badges. We had a couple of authors that didn't realize that
they went and bought their own.
They bought badges. And so I was like, oh no.
Yeah, because it's like $50, $75 or something like that for an extra badge, right?
It's quite a bit. So I just want to make that clear. You do get a badge. We get you in as well. If you come in person, some of the perks are you get to be on our super awesome panels. You get to meet all of our incredible authors. You get to get in before everybody. We always have celebrities stop by our booth because we're pretty much like a staple at GalaxyCon now. So that's a bonus. You get to meet great people, and you get to be marketed by GalaxyCon. Because if you come in person, you go on their website. It's not just our website, our socials. It's all of theirs.
For the fees and whatever else that the author pays to get into this, just think of it as you're paying for your marketing.
Yeah.
And it's way cheaper than if you went and hired a company in town or tried to get a billboard or, any of those kind of things. Try to get a spot on iHeartRadio. You're going to pay a lot more, or at least as much, and who knows how effective it'll be.
Yeah, because we throw everybody on our website, and so we always tell everybody to bring business cards. You're gonna run out. So what we did is we created the Popup Book Shoppe business card, where when they scan it, it takes them to our authors. So then they go directly to your book sale links as well. Yeah. So we're helping as much as physically possible. Even if you're not there and it's just your books, we do the exact same stuff. You get marketed through us. We run ads all the time to push everybody's stuff. So you don't just get special treatment, but it is more fun to come in person.
Yeah. Well, I definitely am going to try to get out there to Richmond, and I won't promise and say and all the other ones too, but I think this, for me, I've seen it in person after talking to you now for a little shorter than an hour. I feel really not just good, but excited about trying to be a part of this thing.
Good. I am glad. Everybody tell all your friends.
Yes. And I'll put your links up for your Instagram, and I'll try to get a link up for the all your the link tree to all your other links too for anybody out there that maybe isn't on Instagram. If you're an author though and you're not on Instagram, think about getting on Instagram. It's free.
Yeah, I gotta say though, I keep on top of the Popup Book Shoppe stuff. I think the last time I posted on my author stuff was like a year ago. Social media is so hard.
It is. And like you were saying too about about trends, when I got on Instagram, I built up a lot of followers, not a lot. I still don't have 1,000, but I built it up fairly quickly, it felt like. And then it started to kind of plateau. And then just recently, I think maybe in the last 2 weeks, I've started actively posting on Threads, and went from 13 followers to 460, 470, something like that in almost no time. And, I'm sure eventually that'll start to slow down, and then it'll be blue sky or it'll be something else. But yeah.
It's hard. I'll have to get on Threads. I haven't done that one yet.
Yeah, I got a couple really good, the posts themselves weren't really good, but the engagement on them was really good. One was just, I posted, "Who's your favorite horror author not named Stephen King?" And I got 600 responses.
Yes.
Another one I posted about going into Barnes and Noble and asking to get my books on the shelves in there, and the manager basically threw me out because she was like, "You know how many people ask me, get out of here?"
Yes.
And I tried to be like, "No, but wait, I get on TV, I get on the radio, I promote, I'm really good at pushing people to stores where the books are." And she goes, "Oh, okay, I get it. So you're better than everybody else." And I tried to just kind of I shared that story on Threads, and a couple hundred responses. Most of them were like, "Oh, that's too bad. I think your books sound cool." A couple people that worked at other Barnes and Nobles were like, "Oh, here's the proper information that you were looking for." But I had a couple people that were just like, "Of course they kicked you out. You're not anybody." One guy said, "You're not anybody. It's important to me that you understand that. You understand that you're not anybody, right?"
See, those are the people, and this is the worst part. Everybody that knows me always says that I'm the craziest mix of things, because they say I'm really nice, but I get really dark really quick. And so when we had somebody come to the table and we had a new author, and I get so defensive and so petty. I live in Pettyville. But so this lady came up, and she was an author, and I won't say which author it was, but she came up and had asked a new author that we had about the bookshop. And she's like, "I'm so sorry, I don't have that information. This is my first time here." And she was like, "So you just went somewhere that you don't even understand what's going on?" And I was like, "Okay, here we go." So I went up and I was like, "Absolutely, give me your information." And so she gave it, and has all of this crazy, whatever. And I was like, I put her on our blacklist. our blacklist has 4 authors. And I was like, absolutely not. You do not get to come in and disrespect somebody that is clearly very nervous and then think that you're going to get something out of it.
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to happen.
There's a difference between confidence and fake it till you make it and acting like, like apparently the Barnes & Noble manager thought, where you just think you're better than everybody. Yeah.
Exactly. No, I will shut you down so fast, and I'll do it with a smile. And you'll think that I just offered you the world, but no. I'm a very nice person until you do something to one of my people.
Don't
I always
piss
said I'd
off
be a
Chelsea
very good
Rice.
dictator. Yes. Absolutely.
Noted. I'll make sure I put that in the show notes.
Yes. Do not mess with her people.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'll get those links out with the show when it drops, and probably before the show drops, you'll see my application in there. So
awesome.
Everybody, check out the Pop-Up Book Shop and come out to the events. Maybe you'll see me. You'll definitely see Chelsea. Get some great books.
I'm always there. You can't miss me.
she's the one yelling at people for being disrespectful.
Yes, nicely, politely informing them about themselves.
Yeah, like the old quote that I learned when I was in the military. Always use tact. And if you don't know what tact is telling somebody to go to hell and have them being happy to be on their way.
Yes, exactly. I have spent years honing that skill. Fantastic.
All right. I think we covered just about everything. Is there anything else that I'm missing that I should let the people know about the bookshop or about you?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, then.
Yeah, I've been going through applications all morning, so I'm trying to think of everything that they have asked me.
Yeah.
So I think that's everything. I don't think there's anything too crazy.
Cool.
But if you do have an arc, feel free to send it to me. We just sent
Oh no, my book's just released on Wednesday.
Nice. Congratulations. Yeah. I mean, even still, so I always tell authors, if you have a new book out, throw your first one I always say it's the first one, but on a book sprout or something, and send that link out on the day or the week after your book releases, because they'll read the first one, they'll leave you reviews, and they'll go to your second one. And
you said that's Book Sprout?
Yeah, I like to use Book Sprout. I think it's easier. But if you go on through there, and then you get people that read your book, they leave you reviews, and then it pushes people to your second book.
Yeah.
Or your next one, or whatever it is.
And I'm just experiencing that now. Other writers have told me, they're like, oh man, just wait until your second book comes out, because then you'll see a pickup in sales from that first one again. So I'm just now noticing that, like, I had a big bump in sales the week leading up to my new book coming out. I was like, oh, good. People are getting excited. They're like, oh, you know what? Let me read that book I'd meant to, and then I'll get this other one when I finish this one. Yeah. Yes,
absolutely. But and if you have any questions, let me know when you put in your application. I'm going through them now, but we have our hot events this year that I think, because I have 18 books to read for New Orleans. Oh. Because everybody wants to go to New Orleans. So.
Oh, well, yeah. Especially the horror authors, man. That's part of the reason why I wanted to go to the one in Savannah so bad. I've been to Savannah a couple times, and I've gone on the ghost tours, and I just love it.
We did a nightmare weekend through GalaxyCon, and it was weird. Nobody bought the horror author stuff. Everybody was buying like frou-frou romance and like fantasy. And we had like 6 horror authors there, and they were like, "No, I'm not really into horror." I'm like, "You're at a freaking horror con. Like, what are you doing?" But so it's kind of hard to guess that trend. And we had so many events this year that I'm trying to figure out how many authors I can get in, because I could absolutely go. And I want to go to Savannah so bad.
Yeah, me too.
I think it'd be so much fun.
Well, if you go, I'm in, man.
All right, perfect.
Even if it's just you and me, let's go tear that place down.
Right? Let's go to all the tours.
Yeah. That's what I want if I sell the most books in Savannah. I want to get a paid ghost tour.
Done. There's a ghost tour in every city.
Everywhere. Driving, walking, yeah.
Yes. Awesome.
Cool.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. Like, I know that you're busy as well. So. And I didn't lose power.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. for the people listening, we were supposed to do this a week or two ago, and right before we were supposed to start, I get a message, hey, can we reschedule? We're completely out of power over here.
Do you know what it was? There were kids jumping on the transformer. This generation, I am telling you, take the warning labels off a week. Because I can't take some of the kids around here. I'm going to flick them in the forehead. I'm telling you. They jump in front of cars. I drive a giant Jeep. And so I'll go, and it's like 30 through here, but there's bushes on every like corner. And so you go, and the kids jump out, and I'm like, you act like I won't hit you. I will. I know your mother. Like, what are you doing?
It's bizarre. I used to live in Florida when I was in the military. I lived in Jacksonville, and I remember the radio station there used to have a bit on the morning show called "It Could Only Happen in Florida," and they would play, all the weird news stories that it's like, of course it happened in Florida.
I like right when spring break stuff starts, Florida, at least because I live over by Clearwater Beach. So they always start the please don't hit pedestrians, because guys, if you're coming to Florida, I can hit you if you are not on a crosswalk and it's your fault. So they do the ads of please don't hit the pedestrians. They're just like, hey guys, we get it, but they have families too. And I'm like, God.
We know that you can, but please don't run over the people.
Yeah, it does it from spring break until like September. You hear them on the radio, you see the commercials. It is spectacular. I'm like, you're making that, and they have a jingle. I can't remember what it is, but there's a little jingle, and I'm always like, this makes me want to hit a pedestrian. Like, you made a soundtrack.
You've given me road rage.
Yes.
That's a good one to end on. Chelsea.
I'm here all week.
Chelsea, otherwise known as C.R. Rice.
Yes.
Founder and operator of the Pop-Up Book Shoppe and all those amazing books. Thank you for the talk. Thank you for putting the Pop-Up Book Shoppe in the world. Something that was sorely needed. And just for being a cool person and for letting me take up an hour of your day here on a Thursday afternoon.
No problem. I appreciate it. We need all the help we can, and I look forward to reading your application.
Yay! All right. Here, hang out for just a second after I end this recording.